Hi. Okay, this is a general intro that I'm going to add to every one of the 12 readings I'm about to do for each sign individually, but I've got the cards organized right now. I'm going to do house readings. I'm going to go for each sign. I'm going to check each of your 12 houses, what your energy is in them, and that's my idea of the most accurate sort of diagnosis I can come up with. You know, it would be my version of, you know, it's similar to the, well, it's not similar to a Celtic cross or something, but in terms of not just my free flow normal readings. So what I wanted to show in introduction was how I'm going to use the cards to classify a bit. I'm going to identify, I'll put, one card will be up here, so whatever your sign you are that you're going to be identifying with in the reading, it'll be up here. For me, this is Aries energy, Leo energy, and Sagittarius energy, but by houses, by 1st, 5th, and 9th houses, right? That's what how I'm classifying the energy. So you might very well be King and Queen energy and watching for Aries, right? So what I'll do is I'll have the Page of Wands up, identifying it as Aries, but the other cards will go back in the deck. So if you are coming out in Knight or Queen or King energy and it needs to come out in the reading, then it will, okay? And we'll correctly identify. So similar, Taurus, because we all know, I keep going on about this, I reclassified Earth and Air to match the houses, but also there are more reasons to reclassify them in their cardinal, mutable, and fixed energies than just the cardinal points that Ptolemy gave them. So I'll make a video arguing that. I explain it in most videos, but Taurus at Page, cardinal energy, Virgo, Knight, and then the entrepreneur, because of the career house, the 10th house is career house, so King and Queen energy for Capricorn, okay? But again, same old. If you're watching for that sign and you're in other, you know, you're in a particular energy, then it'll come through in the deck, because I'll just put the one card up as a signifier and the others will be back mixed in with the deck. So Gemini, and otherwise, so remember Earth and Air I've reclassified. Gemini, Libra as the Knight, and Aquarius as Queen and King because of 11th house, 3rd house, 7th house, and 11th house, okay? And Cups, Cancer, 4th house, Scorpio, 8th house, and 12th house with Pisces. And I would make note that with Pisces, because the 12th house is all houses, and Pisces can take on the qualities, the attributes of any sign, because they've been through all of them. So this Queen and this King wear all the crowns. Even more so than how we classify with the Emperor, right? Or even the Empress. These two, because they're all signs and all houses, they wear all 8 crowns. So that's how I classify those. They'll be representing your sign. For the houses, I know that this is typically in tarot, this is an Aquarius card, but I like it to be, I'm going to use it, it can be identified with Aries in 1st house, yes. And so I believe in astrology it's used as a 1st house card, is how I first learned it. So I'm going to use it for 1st house. I'm going to use the Hierophant. I often, in my astrology work, I'll use him as Chiron, as a planet placement, but I'd rather use him in this. I won't worry about a Chiron card. I'm going to use him as the 2nd house. Lovers for 3rd house. Chariot, because it gets confusing between the... I use the High Priestess card, which is normally a 4th house card. I use her as a Lilith placement, which may or may not come out in the reading, but I'll know if it is. And Lilith, as a lunar experience placement, can be magnetisms and polarities. So they'll give me definite messages if I need. So I'm using the Chariot because that is a 4th house card. It's a Cancer card, so it might as well be used. I'm using the Strength card for 5th house, yes. Of course, Hermit for 6th house, Justice for 7th house, Death for 8th house, 8th house, Temperance, of course, for 9th house. And I get torn with this because I know it's Capricorn, but it's I could use the World card, but I use the World card for Saturn as a planet placement. So I'm going to use Capricorn's card, the Devil, for 10th house, Aquarius and the Star. And I do equate the Tower more with 11th house with Uranus than with Mars and Pluto in Scorpius. It's a split camp. If you go researching online, it's as far as I know, it's a 50-50 split. But I've done my research, and I've got my articles that I refer to that identify the issues that the Tower brings more with Uranus issues. So I'm going to use the Star, obviously, for Aquarius. And then in astrology, the Moon is Cancerian, but in Tarot, it is Pisces. So, and I need it because Hangman has the Neptune meaning. So these will be, I will use these. They won't be in the deck. They're going to be signifying the houses. So they're going to stay out of it. So what we do in place of them, and they'll be up here. I'll just have one card up at the top, and that'll show which house we're working on. And then for the planets, right? So these will be put back in the deck, so that if there's a house that's affecting your house that we're reading about, or there's a planet affecting that, right? Then we have them mirrored, right, by their rulers here. So Sun and Leo, the 5th house. Mercury, so the Magician is Mercury in 3rd house. Of course, Venus, 2 houses. We've got 7th house and 2nd house there. So, and we're going to use High Priestess as Lilith. So any lunar house she might represent, right? But let's say she typically represents the Moon, so that would be Cancerian. But Mars, right? Emperor. Jupiter, the Wheel. Saturn, the World. So for me, Uranus, the Tower, Hanged Man, Neptune, and Judgment, Pluto. Okay, so those will be put back in the deck. And now let's get to your individual readings, and I hope that makes sense. That's what I do when I'm using the cards in chart work. And now, so I'll break for a moment, and I'll be right back. Okay, Taurus, hey, how you doing? This is going to be my 3rd attempt with your reading, and I feel like there's either something has, or someone has had you stuck in looping in your mind. It's either external or internal, or a combination, and it's going way back. It's going way back. It's a cycle that I'm going to let go of. I feel like I need to come in gentle. I feel like there might be trauma, is what I feel. Based on, I didn't necessarily feel it in those readings, but the time that it's taking, like I'm spending at least 36 hours or so with it, and trying to figure out why. And and what's interesting is because I'm a Taurus season baby. My sun was in Aries when I was born, but we were in the Taurus tropical season. And I had the same problem. I'm a Scorpio rising, of course, and I had the same problem reading for Scorpio the last time. I had to get my head straight. It didn't need correcting, it needed redoing, because they were using preliminary readings that I thought were the readings. They, Kali, let's say Kali for now. I want to be pretty specific, because I feel like because there's trauma, then I need to be specific, if that's the case. About I'm whoever you feel safe talking to as God, as your spirit guide, right? Yeah. And you might not be familiar with Kali at all, but I feel like there's something that she needs. It's even now, you can tell I'm I feel there's pain. I feel there's tremendous pain, is what I feel, and we'll find out. I don't believe that I color my readings with my subconscious. I am Scorpio, so subconscious. There's not really any subconscious to Scorpio. Everything is conscious. including the subconscious. So we don't have a surface conversation. Well, we can, but we know the underlying conversation, right? The Freemasons are singing outside their lodge. They've got a jazz concert on outside the lodge. So I'm just going to close the window. The same lodge where the Treaty 1 was shoved down the throats of the First Nations people that live here. Probably with guns to their heads. So, let's see where you are in your first house, Taurus. Yeah, we're going to take this gentle. And you might be going, what the hell is she talking about? I'm fine. I know you're in... See, you're in such magician mode right now. What's going on, please? In Taurus's first house. The house of, and I should explain the house of self if you're not overly familiar with what the houses are. Thank you, Horn. I have, now I gotta be careful that I speak up enough that you can hear me. I've boiled down the meanings or the main thrusts of what I think the houses are for my astrology work. You'll find that you can find many different, even conflicting opinions historically about what the first house is. And in truth, with the Egyptians, there were 8 houses because their house system was based on time slots of the day and the night, not the zodiac. And their year started with you, Taurus, when Aldebaran hit the Giza pyramids, lined up with them. Okay, so I have stuck energy in the first house, the house of self, the house of, this would be where you'd find your rising sign in your chart, and you want to get that from sidereal, not tropical, because the sidereal is closest to where the stars actually were. And I would say right now I'm going with the Larry Eli. I was going with the Fagan Bradley, but the sun didn't hit Aries at the right time according to the Fagan Bradley. Because, anyway, but I say that because if you are working with a tropical chart, then your rising sign could very possibly need to back up. It might not be what you think it is. And therefore, everything is just feeling not like, some things will always resonate because that's the power, but because you'll have an aura probably. Whew. Okay, talking around. No, I'm not trying to talk around. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not leaving you hanging wondering, what this house is about. And because because this is the third try and I feel like we're around pain, then it's a little bit harder to say it faster. Okay. All right, so there's a feeling of stuck safety and injustice. Got Libra. For me, this is Libra energy. Others would put it as Aquarius, but I put it with 7th house. And so the 6th, the gift of safe passage. And we are stuck between a 7 of transformation and the 5 of necessary change. So we're right in the heart of the other house. So there's the first house. The 7th house is directly across, yes, from the first house. So between you and another, but also this injustice, this suspended transition that you're really feeling that you need. There's a safety issue here. Okay, so on the one hand, yes, you do have independence absolutely in processes. When it comes out in a 45-degree angle for me, boom, another horn. When it comes out in a 45-degree angle for me, that means it's in the works, it's happening. And for me, this is Capricorn energy. I don't put it as Virgo, I put it as 10th house because it's career energy. She's an entrepreneur. And so I put it in the 10th house of career. So Saturn is working with you, right? Ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is such a wonderful, wonderful. I've stripped away all what you can learn about Saturn from, cult and religious studies in terms of what the Saturn years, the cycles in my life that match the Saturn cycles and what happened, and very much became my own mother, looked after myself tremendously. So Saturn is boundaries and fears and calculated risks. Okay, so, and being independent. So there's a sense of injustice and stuck in something that stopped you from being independent. Like I said, it feels like there's tremendous pain. Anything else for first house? Because I also want to respect privacy. It's more stuck in at 10. Okay. Yep, that home energy, that completion energy again, career energy. And of course it's going to be stuck because of this progress that's being made. But to feel that in your first house, so I want to say that this is possible. If this has been an always thing, have you always felt stuck? We could check the 7th house next, but I will go in progression. We'll know what by the time we get to 7th house what the deal is. So we have we have a 6 actually leading back to a 5, and here's the 5 itself, right where it should be, and it's in reverse, going back to that 4 of Swords. Yes, but we have this necessary change. We're going to have to go through it again, but differently. It didn't go well the first time. But when we go back to the 4 of Swords and we rest and we heal, and it's Gemini energy. So we'll see what happens in your 3rd house, Gemini's house. When we go back to that 4 of Swords and heal and pause to figure out what needs to be healed. Yes. And then we go back in, we have to go back into this 5 again. Stronger, determined, knowing exactly where that 6 is going to be, or knowing that it's coming, right? Like, this is the injustice, then we need the justice. We need to figure out what the justice is. Now, it might all rest on the 9 of Pentacles. It might all rest on this process, this progress, okay? So let's find out. So that's it's a loaded first house. Not that anybody wouldn't have a loaded first house, but put her in the upright. Okay, we're going to put that right up there to reference it as we need it. And now we're going to come into your house, which could be almost something like another first house, right? So 2nd house, finances, investments, liabilities, assets, property, and also we've got the student teacher situation here. We have authority, we have the matrix world imposing itself on this, on you, but it's a spiritual matrix. Yes, the Pope is a construct that has absolutely devilish manifestations, but and we'll totally separate him from the Jesus that the church pimps, because Jesus don't get pimped by nobody. But you are the Hierophant, in terms of you are the one to usurp this power. But again, so we have, the start. I put you as cardinal earth. the bull that gets the year in Egypt started, the bull that is a huge constellation, but the bull that gets people up and running. Yeah. So yeah, investment. To have fire energy in your financial house. Now this is 9th house energy for me. And 9th house is about the journeys, is about the faith, is about the healing, is about truth. And she's very, see the cat that brings her all kinds of knowledge, yes? She's very intuitive, we know this. Now this is either you or it's somebody possibly who was controlling. Is it you or is it somebody that had power over you and no longer has power over you? Okay. Well, now I have an Aries 1st house card popping out. The waiting on in good faith. And of course, this being your own house, right? And like I said, it's almost like another 1st house. House of self. It's you're not dependent on yourself. This person is waiting for another person to come in and make good on their end of the deal. Another puzzle piece. And there might be, this might be that problem of independence. And being stuck, right? If 9th house and Sagittarius and Jupiter, if they're about long journeys and you are stuck, not able to journey, so to speak. Don't mean out of body. But maybe that's relevant. Okay, stuck energy. The person who doesn't underestimate himself but loves, or herself, but loves everybody else to underestimate them. Picks his or her moment. This is Gemini energy. So like I said, we'll find out what's going on in 3rd house. With the 4 of Swords. Yes. This person is very guided and has access to the information, gets guided to information that most other people don't know, right? Because he's going to, she's, or he, or they are going to blow the lid off of something with the truth, right? And the Page has the flexibility, you know, has that young energy and that sort of like, yeah, I know I have to eventually answer to my master, but I'm going to do some other things along the way. The Knight doesn't have any such flexibility, and certainly kings and queens do not have any flexibility that way. They have to maintain their positions. So for me, this is usually one of the, perhaps the smartest card in the deck. Plus the onus on Gemini energy is to take in, to search for the knowledge and to take it in and process it. And then Virgo with Mercury then takes that information and problem solves and applies it, yes. And then I realize Virgo is an air energy. 7, Libra will negotiate it. And then by the time it gets to Aquarius, which is, you know, 11th house is what you do with what you know, then the onus on Aquarius is to manifest with that knowledge. But Gemini doesn't carry that. Gemini is like, no, it's enough if I know. Did a lot of work just to know. So there's something that what does it have to do with money? No Pentacles here. Oh, except for being stuck waiting. Yeah, no Pentacles, exactly. We've got the Ace of Pentacles now in progress. So it's very possible that we're talking like with a chart problem here. You know, looking a lot like interference, but charted interference. How can I say that? I have no major arcana here. This obviously doesn't count. And this is even in the reverse while it's in progress. So it would take a lot to turn it, right? Take more to turn it around than if it were, you know, like if it were like that, then we just do that. But it's like that, so we have to turn it more. Okay. We will make sense of this as we go. I'm gonna put it, I'll put it sideways. I'll remember that it's in progress. Okay. So let's go to third house. Now this could have everything to do with a relationship. We'll get affirmations in the 7th house. But it can be that knowledge. It can be ethics. It can be... I've explained what the truth is around this card before. I'll spare you this time. We'll see if it needs to be said when the cards start coming out. Ruled by Mercury. And I should say, of course, 2nd house ruled by Venus, which also rules Libra. Yeah. So Venus energy around that. We'll need to remember that what the Venus energy is. And Empress, yes, think Empress energy around that with that Ace of Pentacles that needs to be turned, yeah? The amount of manifestation with Venus, the awareness. So now for Mercury, where are you at in your 3rd house? And this can be this is community, this is contacts, networking, you know, what you can... You know, how you get your information, but who you can tell it to. Not in the sense of the Aquarian sense of product, but exchange, yeah? Shall we say, so the social media level of, hey, I found this thing out. Okay, so we have Leo energy. So when we get to your 5th house, but we have this transformation in... No, it's a necessary change. It's a 5, right? Of course it's the 5. Because it looks like the 5. Oh, dear me. Now, conflicting wills, conflicting beliefs, conflicting desires. Between you and the community or between you and a partner. We have that 3 of Wands. Yes. Lots of fire. Taurus, lots of fire, but if you're in magician mode, then lots of Wands energy, right? Okay. At cross purposes with High Priestess. But who? Moon energy. Intuition. Empress again. Similar to that pentacle that was in progress, right? Yep. Leo and Cancer, 4th house. Now, when I use this as a planet card, which is what I'm doing right now, it's a Lilith card, which means magnetisms and polarities. Who you attract and who you repel, right? Based on... Either based on who you actually are or who you are that you need to develop, right? Like you're going to step out of it because of circumstance. So either by design or by circumstance. And so there's just more, definitely more polarities right now than magnetisms. And I'm not talking law of attraction, which is only right if even 50% of the time I'd be surprised. So that might be it for 3rd house, but let's just see if there's anything else. But again, just to make sense of it, because there's a lot to know just from these two cards. If there is, of course, if there is a lack of feeling safe in your first house of self, if the injustice is there, then this is very hard to. In fact, and we already have that as the Libra energy. We have the 5. Yes. Where's that 5? Yep, that we need to go back and heal and rest you. And the 9 that's in progress. So absolutely, when you look at your what state you're in yourself versus what you can be in the community right now. Look at this. Like there's not a straight card in this reading. Now that's and okay, so the 7 of Swords comes out. So we have all Libra energy in the read already. Just in the first 3 houses. In the core houses, we haven't reached water energy yet, where you're going to work on stability. Well, Gemini as well. See, but those 4 swords, this is what we need to work on in those 4 swords. The 7, this transformation reversed to the 6 of Swords. Exactly. So now it's reversed, taking us back to the 6. But again, there's that transformation that's necessary in communication. So something about the truth. Something about the truth. Okay. Look at that. Process. Okay, so there's just... I'm going to put them all sideways. There is... I'm going to put her between the magnetisms, right? I've got the polarities and magnetisms. So the polarities between will and thought with others. I mean, that's all... And like almost no pentacle, right? So, what can 4th house do to help? And the 4th house has a 0 tolerance policy for anything toxic. And it might take a while in your life to find that out. But it's the truth. And we have the new moon in Cancer coming up. Yep. Very much about managing the ebb and flow, in case the camera cut out when I was saying it, about what energies other people bring to you. In my astrology workbook, I associate Cancer's house as the houseboat. And what I found was that what they made me experience while I was in that for the month was everything was rocking that boat. And they got me to the point where I could make sure that even, no matter what was coming in the water, so that lateral movement, that I wasn't triggered every single time, The balance of the Chariot. Imagine this to be the houseboat, right? And it just needs to stay. It's going to move, but it's secure. It's anchored, but it's gonna, and what it's going to do is it's going to transmit back out into that water, because we are not just inanimate things, right? It is going to affect the water that it floats in, and it is going to, yes, I do believe we have that power. And so it stems, like it pushes back against anything that would come to rock it. Yes. And so here we have this manifestation. We have your energy here at work. So intuitive work, working with guides. You're connected. And working against, see here, the Hierophant actually shows up again as the institution. Yes, we have a Mason who's consulting with nuns and monks, and I think we all know what we think of too many monks and nuns and priests at this point. And Masons, sorry, but it's true. White supremacists, I said it. Striker YouTube. But I've said it enough times anyway. But the conflicts of interest. So making sure you're valuing yourself enough. Valuing yourself enough and putting, you know, not ending up in a conflict of interest. Being where you want to be. You're not going to get onto a ladder. Into an organization. You're not going to get into a pyramid you don't want to be in. Sagittarius energy, 9th house energy again. Completion is what we're looking at here, but it going back to the 9 of Wands, which is proving yourself to everyone. But this person is on his way home, yeah? Almost there. And again, so we have that home issue. 10 reverse, taking us back to the 9, and then above the 10 would be the Ace of Wands. Which would be the house of self again, the first house. The 9 of Wands is the wounded warrior. Standing his ground, her ground, their ground. Often this comes through as a soul contracts card to me now as well. So if that means anything. But we're in the house of roots, family, ancestors, conscience, ruled by the moon. 4th house is ruled by the moon. And for me, the moon is conscience. So you might have a very weighted down conscience. Okay, and something that's gone spinning to the floor. Okay, 2 things in process. Okay, the transformation leading back to, in Wands, leading back to, yeah, we need positive attention. The 6 of Wands. You're stuck in a tremendous amount of 5 of Wands energy. And here we have this, the transformation in progress, right partnered with guidance. The 4, this is the final card of Cancer, which takes us back to the 3 of Cups. It's closer. It's just like how that Pentacle is closer to being upside down, like the work that it'll take to get the stability, because the 4 is stability. So we have stability and basic, yeah, and the transformation. They're in tandem. And that's tied to, it's crossing, yes, that Pentacle. And what else? The 7 of Swords is going the same direction as this, right? So 2 transformations in how you communicate, and then in who you want to be, who you are, who you're supposed to be, right? Based on in those 5 wands. Again, so this work of self and this dependency that they put in you, right? It's in your chart. If you've got a strong 3 of wands leaning, that's actually, I think that's actually where the sun was. I think it was in the 3 of wands for me in Aries when I was born. And you know that there are soul contracts coming, there are guides coming through. You don't actually necessarily know it. You know that you're waiting for something, but you don't know what. But these two are tied together. And we have the happiness of 3 cups there. It's a loaded card because we also have potentially the 5 of cups with the 3 cups spilled. But we're possibly looking at a family situation that that isolated you. This could be like so many family members that turned their back on you. Okay, so those are in progress. That is in the upright. So something Something's working for you. And it would be to do with guides and ancestors. So, 5th house. Pride, will, leadership, creativity I believe of a collaborative kind. Not that Pisces don't collaborate all the time, but Pisces creativity is more like muse creativity, like the channel, like going deep within and channeling, yes. And this for me is very extroverted creativity. But it's not just, and creative thinking, right? Like not just, although I would almost put creative thinking more into Virgo. Yeah, I would. But in terms of actual, and then we have balance again here between lunar and solar. But extreme expressiveness. So no matter if whatever path in life you're in, whatever your interests are, just having the strong ego. Okay. Let's do it all at once. Absolutely. There's strength here. You have strength just by the force of those 3 cards coming out together. Yeah, you have Saturn right here. What did I say? That Saturn was working with you in your entrepreneurial, in your 9 Pentacles, proving yourself to everyone. Okay? Right here in the upright. So now you either have creative work or you have leadership. Both. You have pride, accomplishment. So that 6 of Wands, that has the laurel wreath on it. Absolutely. You know. However. Oh, right. So here we have the 4 of Swords. So you need to be sure. You need to know how strong you are in yourself. That's the truth. This is where the truth is. The truth is in your 5th house. Now you have this 2 of Swords, this Gemini energy repeating. But that's because we have the Page of Swords reversed. Is he reversed or is he in progress? Making up your mind about the truth. And all that circular thinking that somebody has put you in, that the history's put you in. Like those 10 wands reversed, they could have done that to you. And you don't need to be stuck in circle. You're exiting. You're exiting. Once you cut those 9 pentacles, then you get your safe passage, right? And once you understand that, once you understand and have the perspective that you know that absolutely you're on the right path. But you do need to know the truth. And the truth is you have tremendous strength in your 5th house. Because those 3 cards came through clearly together. There isn't really much. Your ego is fine. So it's not you, it's them. What a strong house that is. Excellent. Your pride is healthy. So let's see. In workplace, your optimal workplace is your philosopher house of, I mean, I realize 9th can also be philosophy, but this is absolutely a philosopher pose. I grew up with my dad's philosophy major, and, you know, it permeated. But, you know, you also have the mystic, yes. And you have something of a Jesus knock. Behold, I stand at the door and knock, yes. But then that's a Freemasonic thing as well. Hermetic and all that. So it's a mix. What I'm saying is it's a mixing of identities of gods and humans and abstract notions that are given faces and bodies, yes, but aren't actually people. They're dressed, they're dressed up symbolically, right? Like for all we know, the intent behind this card is they put a human figure on it, but there is no such human figure that they mean, right? We have Mercury again. being guided. But the house of problem solving, health, although I put health also as wands energy. So if you have, anytime we go back and we look at those wands, it's affecting your health. And I would actually